A year ago, Dr. Aris Thorne was a rising star in astrophysics. Today, he's a pariah, his name synonymous with crackpot theories and delusions of grandeur. It all started when he published a paper proposing that strong emotional events left permanent imprints on the fabric of space-time, an idea he dubbed echoes of consciousness. Most of the scientific community dismissed it as pseudo-scientific mumbo-jumbo, but a small group on the fringes took notice. They saw potential in Thorne's radical ideas. In the aftermath, Thorne found himself without academic funding or collaborators, his career prospects effectively dead. Consumed with bitterness and desperation, he resolved to prove his theories, even if it meant going it alone. He began scouring the darkest corners of the internet, hoping to find like-minded individuals, perhaps some forgotten research or data that could support his work. What he stumbled upon instead was a hidden world of esoteric science, quantum mechanics, signal processing, and most surprisingly, a community that believed just as he did. It was here that he discovered the concept of the quantum foam, a term used to describe the supposed turbulent energy fluctuations at the heart of space-time. He learned of the Mnemonic Resonator, a piece of software designed to detect and amplify these space-time echoes. The catch, the software was rumored to be highly unstable, even dangerous, and acquiring it was no easy feat. However, for those willing to brave its complexities, the payoffs could be immense. That's when Aris Thorne made a decision that would change everything. Taking on a false identity, he immersed himself in this underground community. He participated in discussions, offering his own research, where he carefully omitted its controversial core. And slowly but surely, he gained the trust of the community. He helped solve complex theoretical problems, demonstrating his knowledge and commitment. Months went by, and Aris grew closer to achieving his goal. Then came the moment he had been waiting for. One of the community leaders, the enigmatic Nix operator, deemed him worthy. In recognition, he was granted access to the very thing that had captured his attention so long ago, the Mnemonic Resonator. Accompanying the software was a stark warning, emphasizing the software's volatility and the irreversibility of its calibration process. But despite the risk, the allure of finally having access to such a tool was too great to resist. So he set up the software in a secluded part of his home lab. The interface was minimal, consisting of a series of intricate calibration routines that required him to rig up biofeedback sensors, monitor his heart rate, galvanic skin response, and brain activity through an old medical device. This initial calibration took several hours, but it was only the beginning. Over the next few days, he underwent a grueling process that involved intense sensory deprivation and exposure to specific sound frequencies and light patterns generated by the software. He felt his perception of reality start to shift subtly at first, colors becoming more vibrant, sounds richer, and he could almost taste the electricity in the air. But as the process intensified, the shifts became more pronounced and unsettling. He began to see visions of past events in his own lab, of conversations he'd had years ago, of experiments he'd conducted before his theories became his obsession and his colleagues abandoned him. It was as if the software had opened his eyes to a hidden dimension of reality, one filled with the echoes of moments long gone. He realized that he had become attuned to the quantum foam, just as the fringe scientists had claimed. He took his attuned senses to places steeped in history, to an abandoned asylum, a battlefield. Everywhere he went, he witnessed not just the physical remnants of the past, but the emotional and cognitive imprints left behind by countless lives lived and lost. Over time, though, the echoes grew more intense, more invasive. The boundary between past and present blurred until he was consumed by the very memories he'd sought to understand. His condition worsened. He became a vessel for the psychic screams and whispers of history, unable to distinguish between the echoes of ancient civilizations and the murmurs of his own mind. Terrified and desperate, he tried to undo the process, to recalibrate himself. But the software offered no such option. He was trapped in a prison of his own making, forever a living antenna for the ghosts of the cosmos. He reached out to the community that had shared the software with him, seeking help, but received no reply. Had they created something they could no longer control, or had they simply discarded him, a broken tool in a world he no longer understood? In the end, he destroyed his equipment, hoping to silence the echoes, but it was too late. He was the resonator and the quantum foam, a tragic hero lost in his own grand delusion.